Hey, boys and girls, it's time to think like a cryptographer. James de Mille, 1833 to 1880, was a Canadian professor of classics at Acadia University. He wanted to write the great American Shakespeare comedy of errors, which took the form of the Cryptogram, a novel, in 1871. And that's really all we need to know about him. We're sitting in our office sometime around 1860 when a big burly man comes in and says, "I have a cryptogram I'd like you to solve." Here it is. Before looking at it, we ask all the questions. Do you know who wrote this? Yes, Pemberton Pomeroy, who also went under the names Criff and Redfield Lytton. Under what conditions did he write this? He was arrested for bank fraud, and while in prison wrote this as a confession, but I don't know why he wrote it in cipher. Do you have any idea what he's confessing to? Not really. I know that he wrote a counterfeit check to my bank for $100,000. He cheated his brother Neville, who is a friend of mine, and he ran off with the wife of Neville's best friend, Lord Chetwynd. Sounds like a nice guy. You have no idea. Do you think he names anyone in this confession? Probably himself and his brother. Maybe me. And I think Lady Chetwynd. So those names are, again? Well, I'm Obed Chute, and I run a bank. The scoundrel is Pemberton Pomeroy, alias Redfield Lytton, alias Criff. His brother is General Neville Pomeroy of the family Pomeroy Burkes. And the other two are Lord and Lady Chetwynd. I've met the lady, not her husband. Is there anything else you think we should know? I don't know the exact dates of the crimes he would confess to, or if he would include them. I do know he's a sneaky rat and may have put traps in his confession. I don't trust him, and that's why I've come to you. Very good, we say. We'll start looking this over right away and get back to you if we have any further questions. Obed leaves and we get started. We're immediately struck by three things. First, the cipher is handwritten and gets all compacted in the lower right corner, so we're going to have to clean this up. Second, we seem to have two symbol sets, pictures in the upper half of the message and punctuation in the lower half. At the minimum, we may have two symbolic simple substitutions. Thing 3, we may be dealing with a homophonic substitution of some kind. We have our assistant make the copy and also compile frequency data. We complain that the symbols are inconsistent and hard to work with, so they randomly assign the letters A through Z to the pictures and leave the punctuation as is. We look at the letter data first. Our randomly assigned letter I appears 15.7% of the time. Taking a simple frequency attack, we can say that this is probably E. Then we have the punctuation data. Exclamation mark, cross, semicolon, colon, and weird S all appear between 10 to 14% of the time, making this look pretty flat. Looking strictly at the uppercase letters, the distribution is pretty much like what we would expect for English, which approximates a 12%, 9%, 8%, 8% pattern. The punctuation frequencies are flatter, so let's hold off on those for now. Treating our cipher as A through Z only, the obvious first step here is to assign the letter E to I, and then look for patterns. On line 2, we have S-A-C-I-J-A-E with a something 1 something E something 1 something pattern, where 1 represents the same letter, which could match Pomeroy. Fill in P, O, M, R, and Y. Pomeroy shows up on line 9 twice as Pomeroy, O something Pomeroy. Neville's name is Neville Pomeroy of Pomeroy Burke, so the missing letter is probably F for of. Let's fill in F, and for Burke, let's fill in B and K. Next, on line 3, we have this string which matches the pattern something something E, something something Y, something something E for Chetwynd. Fill in C, H, T, W, N, and D. Yeah, this is looking good, if we ignore the stuff that doesn't fit. Line 1, which includes mercy on my wretched, looks like may God have mercy on my wretched soul. But if we plug V in for the letter H, we have HAVE and SOVL. If we plug in U, we have HAUE and SOUL. Maybe we've made a mistake. Going back and rechecking the symbol assignments, no, it looks like it's supposed to be that way. Maybe the author is doing that Latin thing, where V is used for U. Let's assign V to H. G, A, V, S, L. On line 3, in the string that includes eloped, cipher letter R only appears twice in the entire crypt, and might have been recorded incorrectly as a unique symbol. This R matches the P in Pomeroy and Poor in line 3. Then W something TH has to be with. Fill in I. In the string on line 6, we have the pound symbol in what looks like peaked. So let's fill in Q for that pound sign. She was piqued at her husband. Line 8, the missing letter looks like X for expelled. Fill in X. Looking at just the plain text we've recovered so far, we have what looks like readable strings in the middle of garbage. Trying to add word breaks, we get the following. We have a mix of sentences with I, she, and he. The subjects of the sentences are confusing. Plus, there's all that garbage at the beginning of the lines. Just take the readable portions. Pomeroy forged. Pomeroy eloped. I expelled the army. If you'd only known of Neville and had no idea Neville had a black sheep brother, this could be fairly damning evidence against Neville as a forger, gambler, and homebreaker. And here's our trap. But let's go back and just add a separator between our readable segments and the garbage. That diagonal break doesn't look at all suspicious. Let's try looking at just the first letters of those lines. Reading up, we get a coward too. Remembering the video on route transposition, we can say that we're probably dealing with some kind of on-by spiral tramp. Starting from the lower left column, a villain and a coward too. Oh, may God have mercy on my soul, amen. The second column is complete enough to give to that I, Pemberton Pomeroy, forged $100,000. Let's keep going with the remaining columns. Column 3, now that I, Pemberton Pomeroy, eloped with poor Lady Chetwynd. Okay, this is good enough. Looking at the readable horizontal sections, we can see that line 10 is fine, but line 11 is almost all jumbled, despite the appearance of the word many. Knowing that this is a spiral, we try reading it backwards. My name is not Criff. This may be the beginning of our reverse spiral. To the right of that is +0, which may be Pemberton's indicator for the start of the message. Knowing that the lower portion is reversed, we can easily place Pemberton and Redfield-Lytton within the punctuation symbols. Then we can just finish off the message. Fill in R, D, F, L, P, M, B, Y, H, S, W, C, K, and finally F. We're done with the substitution stage. Let's look at the full plaintext as it stands now. Unwrapping the spiral, my name is not Criff. I am a miserable villain, but I was once named Pemberton Pomeroy of Pomeroy Berks. I fell into vice early in life and was expelled the army for gaming. I changed my name then to Redfield-Lytton. I fell in love with Lady Mary Chetwynd. She was thoughtless and liked my attentions. I knew she was piqued at her husband's act in leaving his party and losing his prospects. Out of spite, she listened to me and ran off with me. Neville followed us and rescued her from me before it was too late. She acted out of a mad impulse in flying and repented bitterly. My brother saved her. Let all know that I, Pemberton Pomeroy, eloped with poor Lady Chetwynd and that she was saved by Neville Pomeroy. Let the world know, too, that I, Pemberton Pomeroy, forged $100,000 and my brother paid it and saved me. I write this in cipher and am a villain and a coward, too. Oh, may God have mercy on my wretched soul. Amen. And we're done. Not a bad afternoon's worth of work. We wait a week and Obed drops by during his lunch break. We tell him that we just finished after nearly pulling out all of our hair and give him the key and plain text. Our sweat is puddled all over the desk. There's no air conditioning in the 1860s. Impressed, Obed writes us a big check and leaves. We take a long lunch to celebrate and tip our assistant $1 for his good work. He's worth it. Then we kick back and wait for the next job to come in. If you want to read DeMille's novel The Cryptogram yourself, I put the link in the description below. That's it for now. See you at the next bookshop. Got questions, comments, or suggestions? Leave them in the comments below. Enjoyed this video? Then I encourage you to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. If you want to show further support, you can join us over at the Black Chamber Patreon page, where you can get access to more how-to videos and PDFs on solving the cipher types covered here, additional crypts to solve, and more. Links pinned in the comments below. See you at the next drop point.